The Idol.
And they used to say, when the pupil is ready, the teacher will come. The teacher will come.
Yes. Welcome and appreciate everyone for joining and tuning in for this number 30003 ENS BTalks with r1der with a 1 r1der. r1der and I have been bumping into each other via ENS Maxis, via some Twitter Spaces, talking about some great things. Incredible to connect with you, and really grateful to have the opportunity to go into some depth about what it is that you're doing and your goals in Web3 and how we might work together, how we might connect you with some people can help leverage, the opportunities that are here for us. So without further ado, thank you, r1der, for hanging out with me. How are you doing today?
Good, GM. Hello, n0vax. How are you going?
I'm really actually great because I had an awesome call with Rand from Audio Labs earlier. And so this Twitter space and others that I do now, you can see I'm using my not the best music, obviously, but I'm using just some music that I have and that I've worked on over the years because this is all.
It's pretty dope. I love it. I love the sounds. I only heard like small part of it, but I did
I'll
love
send
it.
you the link later so you can actually kind of pick up the nuances of it. But it's just some silly stuff that I had done and hardly ever used. But I need content that's not copyrighted. I need content that I could bookend on these interviews, because when they go to YouTube, sure, it's fine with Twitter Spaces, but when they end up on YouTube, the DMCA filters and everything will flag. So it's a great opportunity also for us to promote Web3 artists and their brand and their music.
It is great. I also have to say, like the vibe that it gave me was like I'm playing like sort of a turn-based game, and this is like the background music. Yeah, I actually very love it.
That's awesome feedback. Thank you. Yeah, it was really fun to put that together. I'm an audio engineer, or at least I have done, video editing, video production work that involves some, level of audio engineering. So I do a lot of that inside of Premiere Pro, where I can stack up like many layers and I can easily import video files. So part of my workflow process on that was to get like all these old Ninja Turtle videos, YouTube, Bruce Lee videos, videos of like the Chinese and Japanese national, armies drilling martial arts and stuff like that. Because I wanted like the audio of like a big group of people drilling martial arts, like the sound of like a courtyard, like an army of soldiers. So this is Fish Toshi's dojo, and so everyone's supposed to be learning how to be like underwater ninjas. And I just think audio palette does set the tone, and if we use it that way, we can achieve a lot, especially in like metaverse and stuff. So, what do you think about like you individually, Ryder, from what I've known and heard you speaking about your perceptions on ENS and stuff, like how you value different ENS last night. Like I've come to really respect you in a short period of time, and I would love to know more about you and swap B cards with you and kind of make sure that we have a footnote for each other, can find each other. Hey, Quantum, feel free to join us, man. We're just doing a B card interview with Ryder, who's a great friend. So, we just bumped and met him recently in the Web3 space and just getting to know him a little better. So feel free to chime in as you like and hang out with us. It'd be awesome to have you. And this session is being syndicated to YouTube as well. So no copyrighted music and no profanity, please. Not that Quantum would ever violate that. What's up, Ryder? So what are you working on these days? What's your main hobby or your main project?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's great to meet you. I'm very glad like we bumped into each other. We already like exchanged so many things, and I already like learned so much from you. And I think this is why I love Twitter and like eventually like social networks. But this setup is actually pretty dope. I love it that I'm able to meet people with mind-like and similar interests, especially when we are talking about crypto Web3, and it's very hard sometimes to speak those topic with the outsider, I would say, people outside of this crypto world. So yeah, I find it like pretty awesome to actually connect with people like yourself and speak those topics. I do have to admit that I do want to understand better the B card. I did joined you yesterday with a coffee shop, and I really really liked it, but I would love to get some more information, like your perspective on that, and like how do you see that develop, and like what do you see, how do you see the end goal of that particular project?
Sure.
Me personally, well, this day I'm actually working in a crypto company for the past year, maybe a bit more. And this day, on my personal side, I'm trying over the last few months to gather some ideas, mostly related to ENS, but not only. But all of them are related to like Web3 and crypto. I think like this space is going to explode, and I think we see every day the progress and the companies, the huge companies that jump on. We just saw yesterday, for example, like I hope, which I loved when I was in the US. I love all those fast food with a lot of butter in it. Yeah. um, yeah, so I think we live in a great times, and being I was uh, designer and art director for nearly 10 years. I've actually started in a very very young age, and like developed my skill over the years. On the recent years I shifted a little bit. It actually was like over the years, during the time I was graphic design and stuff. So I shifted into more like a UX UI. Read a lot of stuff, many books and psychology and whatsoever. And eventually I ended up at my position today, which is front end developer. Yeah, so I think like those skills, I'm super like happy that I have them this day, when we are in the middle of like new generation of digital generation with the whole Web3. And one of the reason I'm actually like very bullish on ENS is mainly because of those skills that I have, because it allows me to actually maximize them. I think we spoke a little bit about it yesterday, about how ENS are actually holding the data of the users, and it actually enables me to run like dApps or whatsoever with little to no DB behind, which make things like way easier to develop and yeah, to make a progress on that. Um, yeah, so that's basically like where my head is this day.
Right on, man. I'm thinking about you as a front end now because I was going to ask you, like, what are you doing? Like, what is the crypto company all about? And I don't know how much you can or want to say about that, but I'm just being a front end developer in blockchain space means that you're probably like, pretty fluent with some of the big tools that people be using, some of the libraries, some like React and everything. Um, so maybe there's ways that, if you ever moonlight or do side projects, I am a person who doesn't have that level of knowledge and experience, but I have at least an understanding. I've used jQuery libraries, all this slide left, slide right, whatever it is. I can't remember them all, but just those beautiful, simple commands that you could use, within CSS, in your jQuery files and everything. You could just easily animate things on screen. Like I had a 2 drop down pension calculator that I created where it was just like, years of service and age, and I had these animated columns pop up for with gradient and all this formatting with CSS and stuff, but that just would animate to show the pension projections for an individual. And that was a early on in 2012, 13, I was kind of, or yeah, about that time, I was discovering some of that. And that was when the web was starting to become just more interactive at that moment. It was going full mobile. We're still not even like more than 50% of traffic was probably not even on mobile in that time. But now we're like looking at this, very reactive Web3 kind of experience. And we want to have, we need to actually have the kind of functionality to keep some of the back end stuff like in the queue, and to be able to interact with it in more sophisticated ways where you're like queuing up a transaction and amending a smart contract, and then signing it through a front end. So I wonder, like, there's a lot of security concerns with that. I think it's a lot of how a lot of projects end up getting exploited is through like some front end vulnerabilities or something like that. And I'm just curious, like, from your perspective, with the balance between the design work that you do and the security that you do, like the form and the function of it all. How do you find the balance there? Is it something that can be done alone as a front end designer, or is it something that you build some like common practices, standard procedures that you follow, and you kind of have like a boilerplate or a few of them that you use competently to interchange, switch out between? Or is it more like everything that you do is kind of new and fresh from scratch, and it needs to be run through like the full audit of the full strength of your team around you and everything? Really curious about how that works.
Yeah, so first, it's actually pretty funny you mentioned like the calculator that you built. Just yesterday, I happened to see some tweet post of an NFT with the JavaScript, HTML, and CSS calculator in it, which was like pretty dope. I did see some like dynamic NFTs, if you want to call them that way, where you can actually like interact with the NFT, but seeing like a calculator on it, it made me like think of again so many possibilities. In regarding of your question about the security, so yeah, for me personally, I do like try, let's say, my best to think on every scenario I can, and like what can go wrong, or how can, let's say, if it's not my platform, how can I exploit it? So trying to shift my perspective into like a hacker mode and think that way is actually helping me like protect myself better with my project. But other than that, I do have to say that as for now, at least, I do get support from some of my friends, which are more like professional with solidity and so on, and have like a lot of experience with that. So I feel like very comfortable with that. That it's not like something new, and that it's like the first time I use that, and maybe like thing can go wrong, because eventually we are talking about money, and my first rule, and especially when you are talking about other people money, this is like the first thing that every company, in my opinion, should take care of. Again, because it's money, because some people's actual lives and feelings are depend on that. I will actually like run an audits and so on before I will release anything. This is just how I see the things in security perspective. But yeah, my focus is mostly on providing the best user experience. But even before that, I think what I love the best to do is to actually find the needs that emerge from these new tools and so on, and to try and answer those needs with like a simple UI that intuitive and like appealing. So this is my focus as a developer and former designer. Yeah, this is basically it.
Do you ever have time to work on like a project, like a side project, passion project, or like a club for the ENS subcultures? Because right now at this moment, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm just sharing with you this vision. Yesterday, it's been like over 3 months now, almost 3.5 months since I've been hosting spaces for the 24-hour club, which is co-founded by some of the co-founders of Ethereum, or of ENS rather, but also some actually the co-founders of Ethereum, actually, like Alex Van de Sand and others. And they've kind of more or less all the original people and devs who were there, like from the very first days of the 24-hour club back in whatever April or May, have kind of like moved on, partially because there was a lot of hype with the clubs, and I imagine anyway, I'm just inferring that it was kind of became a potential perception issue or conflict of interest if the ENS devs and founders are being perceived as like being part or endorsing one subculture club over another or something like that. So for one reason or another, the sort of development energy in that club, it sort of fizzled out after the ENS clock. You can go right now and check out ensclock.com. Everyone here should. And you'll see that it's just like an NFT clock. It's so cool. We've got all 1,440 minutes of the day, and owned as NFTs, and you can update the avatar. And then ensclock.com, I own that website now. It's transferred to me. I have no idea how to deal with that React-based, code, how to edit any of the GitHub repository that's been transferred to me. It's like I'm a child in the pilot seat of a spaceship, and I've been looking for devs to help me on this, and just because I've got this vision and I've studied tech entrepreneurship and management. I understand iterative product development and everything. I have a little bit of software development experience, so I'm not making pie in the sky requests. I know the limitations and some of the syntax and object-oriented principles and everything. But just generally speaking, at this moment, when you look at ensclock.com and you see what's gone on with the club, it's just such an extraordinary opportunity, but we're just not having like the level of developer support. Somebody coming up and saying, hey, we do have people saying I can help, I will help, but then ultimately, like, we're not seeing the results at all. So I'm just really kind of growing tired of sitting there holding a mic and saying, this is my vision for a clock, this is what we want to do, and it's going to do this and that, and who's going to help us. And so what I started doing now is saying, I told the club I'm still host the Wednesdays, but I'm going to really start building on the metaverse side of it. I'm going to separate and differentiate between the 24-hour club and the meta clock.eth metaclockemoji.eth project, which is basically to just start working on the end of the rainbow. Go to the 3D clock tower, model the 3D clock tower, animate the 3D analog clock at the top of the clock tower, and then the digital advertising clock, like what you see with ensclock.com, the blue avatars, whenever they're updated with the cool avatar, think of that like that minute is a minute of ad space. And that would be down on the ground floor of this massive clock tower that would be located centrally at the origin point of Decentraland, Sandbox, Voxels, and have a special space in OnCyber and Spatial, just to basically instantiate the metaverse clock in UTC writ large for all to see and understand. Oh, what time is it? Yeah, it's right now. What time is it? It's 10:53 Pacific? No, that's not right. It's 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5:53 PM UTC. That's what time it is. And so people are going to start telling time in UTC as a consequence of this Web3, renaissance. And so because of that, there's great opportunity with the clock tower. And so I do actually have my partner on Amazing XR, Marcos. Marco's a really talented 3D developer and can, 3D designer, modeler, and his team can definitely like build this thing in AR as well and all of that. But it's like, then what? You know what I mean? So we kind of have to get a lot of pieces put together to make things happen. But I wanted to talk with you about the front end and the UI. Like, could we, implement some of these ideas together of like having the clock. If you go to ensclock.com, you could see it's very simple, but it would be so amazing to have it kind of more than that in the way that we've articulated in through some of our graphics, like to have 3 clock faces, one of them be your local time, one of them be a user-defined time, so you can easily, intuitively schedule between 3 different time zones, one of them being your own, one of them being UTC, and then one of them being a user-defined guest time zone. And to be able to like have that UI in an elegant way, in an effortless kind of intuitive way, is something new and useful. We don't have that. We know Savvy Time. There's some other things. If you look up like how to schedule in UTC and just use the Web 2 tools for it, they suck, and they're either too complicated or they're not mobile friendly, or they just don't get down to the point. It's like, so anyway, I would really sincerely like to kind of just put that, leave that with you, that if you find that you would see value and opportunity in potentially building on 24-hour club with us, that maybe we could, I've got all the keys to the code base, and maybe we could fork off a development environment and see if it's something that interests you. Because I think there's economic potential in it too, right? We can monetize the ad space, and then we're going to give some percentage of it to the underlying token holders, but then the development team that's building it, I think, is entitled to a large piece of it, because it's not getting built without you or people like you. So I wonder, how does that sound to you? Are you just too busy to even take up other things, or would you maybe want to kind of dabble in something like that? Maybe not this exact thing, but possibly even something similar in the future if you do have time.
Yeah, so first of all, I love the idea, the base of it. I think it's pretty cool. Regarding like my time, I'm actually like fighting myself and everything around me to find time to deal with my own personal project. That's at least at the moment. I would love to like cooperate with you on that or some other projects in the future. At the moment, I don't think I can put it in my schedule because, again, I'm trying to find like every time I can. I'm mostly like working on my stuff on the weekends. This is basically the only time that I currently have. Just a couple of maybe 1, 2, or 3 hours a day. After coming back from 10 or more hours of work. So yeah, it's pretty hard to maintain it. Especially when I do the same thing on my work. So coming home and after 10 years in front of 10 hours, I'm sorry, in front of the computer, it's sometimes also hard. No matter how much I love it and want to make it, it's hard to maintain the focus and like just keep building, even for myself. But definitely something we can discuss in the future. Regarding the idea itself, Well, I think on the base of it, I love it. It's like very very nice, especially when you talked about like the clock tower in the metaverse. I think this is something that can be pretty awesome for all the holders. I would ask, like, if I'm trying to put myself in your shoes regarding this project, I would try to ask myself, like, how can I bring like an added value to it? Because let's say me for myself at this moment, okay, so I just like clicked on ensclock.com, and it's pretty nice that the ENSs, like the domains are like switching with every minute that passed, and I love it. And some people I've already seen like already made like a background picture, so it's also nice to see like every minute with a different team and so on. I think it's also something that makes it like really nice. But as a user that don't own one of those hours or minutes, um, I do ask myself, all right, so I have just joined this website. I've seen it. It's pretty cool, but like, what's going to attract me to come back? So this is my first question, and honestly, I don't really like find the real answer at this moment. Obviously, you gave it much more thought, and maybe you have some already have some stuff in your head. The first thing that, for example, I can think of, and it's obviously can correlate with Twitter and other social account that will push it through. Let's say, just for example, you can also do it for dates, but even for hours and minutes, like significant events, for example, that happened on this minute or on that time, and like every single day you might like share something that happened on that particular like minutes or something like that. If it's like an agreement, a war, like a famous person that born or died, or I don't know. I'm just trying to think in a way, like, again, like added value, something that will enable me as a user that is not necessarily part of the club to actually have a reason to come back and interact with that. And of course, once you do that and you do get traffic, so yeah, obviously you can monetize it and like do some ads and so on and so forth. But I think the base thing that I would focus at the moment, beside the graphic itself, that yeah, sure, we can improve it, but uh, yeah, I would think mostly about like how I can extend the added value that I'm bringing to my users. Yeah, I
Thank
would love
you.
to get your response on that, because you probably like already thought on many different ideas in this direction.
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, it's really cool to actually, because normally I'm kind of like shouting about like what I think we need and why and stuff. And until recently, it's not even been really indexed because I've just only got Audio Labs, hooked up to put these the content onto YouTube, and it will only happen if I host from my page. And I can now do that because I can schedule out multiple events from my single page now. So this is all kind of coming together to be able to do more and better. But simply put, I've been saying the same thing, like what you've observed, like that there's a motivational problem, and then I want to get back to just like B card and you. But this is kind of an interesting, bunny trail of how we might, serve one another. So I want to stay on this for just a moment, and answer your question. But I've been thinking about that a lot. There's a lot of consideration, so it's very difficult to unpack it really quickly. But it's simply this. Um, have you ever seen Pixel Map or Thousand Ether homepage? They're decentralized like group art projects, like a big canvas where everyone can buy a little piece of it. You update it. Some people buy a cluster together and make a kind of combined artwork with fragmented, uh, collated or images to composite it. That's the word I was looking for, and that's great. But like, some percentage of people lose their keys and don't care and just have it in some cold storage wallet, and they're not going to update it. That's not why they're just investing in it. So like 30% or more of Ethermap and 1,000 Ether homepage are just like blank. And we as communities just accept that. That's how it is. But it means there'll never be like a complete piece of art on that board. And to me, it's like the board is arbitrary. The board is arbitrary. It's like we're sold as spaces, whatever, but those NFTs, you can make a new board, just like we could make a new clock, and the new board can say, okay, now these pieces fit together in this new square, and there's no blank spots or whatever. I'm not suggesting that 1,000 Ether homepage or Pixel Map do that, but I am suggesting that we um, to be realists, in the 24-hour club, and we go, how many avatars are updated, guys? Almost none. Maybe have less than half. And why? Like, why would the club go and spend gas to go and update all these avatars when the question, like you asked about the traffic, like what is the dynamic, like user experience? Why are people going there? And so the way that I thought of it was, a few different things. So what I think is that the location of the object, the location of the widget in the application is like imperative, to understand that. Is it ENS clock is not the end destination here. This is a development environment. ENS clock, as far as I'm concerned, is a throwaway domain. And I know some people might disagree with that. I'm the owner right now, and it was gifted to me, and it was, and it is cool, but it's like not, the end of the day, that's not what we're building. What I think what we're building is a widget that, it could live at the homepage, whatever that is, metaclock.eth.limo or ensclock.com or whatever. But that widget could have a home base, but that's not where like all the traffic is being generated. The widget is embedded as an iframe, on ENS Vision, on Domain Plug. Well, that's what the goal is, to get it on the ENS app, so that you have a little tiny clock embedded aesthetically in a pleasing way in the upper right-hand corner, and that you could click on it and it would kind of superimpose, overlay with a 50% opacity over the full screen, and just the app is, kind of as part of the. It could create some security issues. People might not want to just pop our iframe in there without really thorough audits on it, especially on these bigger sites. So it's a big lift, and it has to be done correctly. But the idea of building a widget is more interesting, because then the thought is, okay, well, I'm here registering a domain, and good thing there's a schedule here, because r1der just hit me up in my DMs. He wants to schedule a meeting tomorrow. I forget what time zone he's in. r1der, what time zone are you in? Oh, it's UTC +1. Okay, let me open. I click the app. What happens? There's UTC time in the middle. Boom. Right now it's 11:05 Pacific. That means that it's 6:05 p.m. UTC. So that'll say 6 p.m. UTC in the middle of the clock. On the left-hand side, it will say 11 a.m. Pacific. For me, it'll normalize by querying my device. And then on the right-hand side, I have a user defined. So I'll be able to say, r1der, what are you? +1. Okay. And now I've got like the functionality that we don't have. So that's the big motivator, how you get people to want to engage with it and return to the clock, is I think by giving them the very simple utilitarian scheduling understanding of UTC functionality that allows it to be a smooth transition from a localized, domestic work environment to an international, kind of a global sort of a work setting. And then the other part of it is the metaverse clock. What up, 38? And Shabbat, and what up, Artificial, and the DAS. Thank you guys for piling in. Really, really awesome. We're going to get to Q&A in just a second too. But yeah, no, we've been at it for about almost exactly a half hour. So we're about halfway through the sesh. And we're talking a little bit about the metaverse clock, about 24-hour club. My guest is r1der, r1der, r1der.eth. He's a front-end developer, and also just a good friend and fellow ENS degen, with some insight and knowledge on, which ENS are valuable to him, and he has some good insights here. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for PV for rolling in. -2 is in the house. By the way, homeboy hooked me up like never before, like you wouldn't believe. Just like the generosity, man, it just continues to blow my mind. Like I was gifted a very, very special, very, very special domain. The Dask, you are like a straight up G. Like there's nobody like you, bro. Like honestly, Homeboy hooked me up with n-1emoji.og, went and registered it for me, and then like a giga chad just gifted it to me, just landed in my wallet, gave me -1 emoji. He's like, you are the -1, bro. This one's for you. So I just want to shout you out and say thank you, Dask. You're the man.
You're welcome, brother. Well deserved, man. Appreciate it. You're a good dude, man. Um, yeah. I got nothing more else to say, man. You're a dope dude, man. n0vax is the man.
Bro, I just can't believe the support. It's like truly, it's really, really well appreciated and loved. Like I can't tell you. I put it in my title already. You know, I got that as my name with the -1.og, and I know that you swooped up a couple of the others, and so. You know, you may have -2. -2 is in the house. I was trying to work something out with you, try and do some trades because the -10 to be -2.eth and -2.og is like, oh, I mean, PV's over here trying to rush the stage. He's like, give me that -2.og. What's up, PV?
Yeah, dude. For some reason, I don't know why I didn't register like the whole set of the -10s, dude. And I had that chance, but then I guess I started trying to DJ on other stuff, on other words, and damn, I messed up, dude. Like I had no idea that everything went at that moment, bro. Spaces and capitals and all that, everything. So a lot of the grills that I haven't wrapped though, because I'm like, man, this is silly. It has a space. I'm not gonna wrap them, but like I had like, I think I registered Hercules, right? But damn it, it had a space. Wolverine, a damn space. I'm like, shit. And other words, man. But at least I got some decent ones. But yeah, I for some reason I don't know why I didn't register the whole set of the nigga tents.
Oh, it's just a cool thing because we all have our bandwidth and our interests, and I'm interested in the lineage contract and everything. And I also Dogfather hooked me up with some dopies too, and I need to get into it. And Digivitar and I were just claiming some, but I haven't really got in on a burner wallet and hooked up myself. I'm kind of waiting a little bit. I was gonna just set up a burner wallet for some of the things, but I already gave my hot wallet for a claim, and I'm like, damn it, like Dogfather already queued up the domain claim for me based on my current hot wallet address, and so I was like, shoot, I should have given him a throw. I should have given him a burner, but it's all good. I'm gonna work it out. I don't know if it will exactly. I'm right now. My plan is just wait and secure the assets in my hot wallet before connecting it to claim that OG. And I hope I don't have a limited time limit. But anyway, I want to get back to r1der, but I just want to say, man, it's truly like an honor to have supportive community members, like friends, really family, like at this point are just willing to say like, yo, I got your digital identity for you over here. I know you're gonna appreciate this, and I'm looking out for you. I sent you some things. I want to send you more things. um like I sent you the Pirates of the Caribbean Jolly Roger derivative that I minted on Polygon with the Pirates music, and I straight up right click saved my original Jolly Roger from Doge Party for that. So it's kind of a in some way it's kind of a um, semi legit derivative. It's made by the Jolly Roger holder anyway. But yeah, there's things like that I'm just going to keep showering you with, bro. Like I literally feel indebted to you. I'm going to be trying to send you a dope crypto skull and any other things like throughout my experience. Like I feel so honored by the gift that I want to make sure that over time, like I can chip away and show my gratitude. So you're amazing, man. Keep doing what you do.
Yeah, I think while you spoke, like before you answered, first of all, like it's great to have you all here, and nice to meet you guys. While you were speaking, like and answering my question about the ENS, I'm sorry about the clock. I've actually, I might, I don't know. You tell me if you like it, but I might just find you another use case for that, which I think can actually have a lot of potential. So you have mentioned like creating a widget, which I personally think is like a great idea, especially like for a ENS related website like ENS Vision, for example. But what I was thinking, I've just put it together with the idea of monetizing the clock website. I've been thinking, what if your website was actually a platform to rent ads? So let's say I have a specific minute, I have 420, all right? This is like the minute that I have. And you can, like, or not only you, but actually everyone will be able, for example, to mint only once a day. Only one per day can mint, like, for each of the minutes. Okay, and I can actually take over your background. You know what I mean? So, for example, I have 420, and now the desk wants to advertise. He knows that this widget is going on Domain Plug or in ENS Vision, and he think, you know what? Tomorrow I want my ad for my game or for my company. I want it to be hosted on that specific minute on those websites that got this widget. So all you have to do is just mint tomorrow's date as a subdomain for my 420. And once he does that, he can actually upload his picture. And like every day, you are just displaying the subdomain of the current minute. And that way, this is actually like a whole advertising system based on the minute. Okay, so every single day, every advertiser can buy his minute on those websites that are hosting the widget. So just to
So
throw this idea, and
it's so good, Ryder. It's exactly what we've been, if you listen back to these talks and stuff, it's exactly part of the reason we have zero progress on anything for 3 months since I arrived. I've just been saying, come on, developers, here's the idea. Where are you? Get the enthusiasm here. This is what we want to build. Here's the considerations. We've got nothing, and it's crazy. But the ideation has been so thoroughly explored that that's a huge part of this, that we realize that the lift is very heavy to build that dashboard. And it's actually never been done. So it's an innovative thing to actually do it like this, because this is the topic I was when I was speaking about Pixel Map and Thousand Ether homepage, that I will call it the Pixel Map dilemma. Um, Basically, when you apply that to this scenario, it's like really problematic. And so we didn't want to do a subdomain clock that was fully centralized, because it seemed like it would defeat the purpose of like the whole 24-hour club, decentralized vision. But then we realized, if you're going to sell ads and build a dashboard as you described for where Coca-Cola might arrive there and try to buy, in a month of everything, they're going to object to seeing to having that be an immutable clock where somebody could post, a really obscene or offensive image on there, and we have no power to disrupt it. Obviously, we have the power at the UI of our widget, right? At the application level, like we can just like decline certain images and override them. But the point is that it's better to build a system that kind of is automated to do what you want. And so what we were waiting for was the smart for the subdomain wrapper, which is like imminently being deployed. And so I've talked to Prim about this as well, because what we were thinking is like to soul bind subs, to domain bind subs. And so what this would look like is, imagine this for yourself with ENS, because you know enough about ENS to imagine what this would look like. But imagine now my meta clock.eth is totally differentiated and separate from my 07h37.eth, my 737 minute. But if I would like to do an airplane background avatar and sell tickets, airline wants to buy a minute on 707h37.eth, they might be able to access our user dashboard, as you suggest, and say, okay, I want this minute at this time. So you can need a calendar feature that in which they can select a range of dates and times, including a date and minutes. And then you need them to be able to choose the avatar and upload the avatar at that moment as well. Then there needs to be an approval process on the avatar, a manual approval process, probably through like a multi-sig or voting process, but that would be too cumbersome. So we probably need some manual approval on the avatar submits to make sure there's nothing graphic or lewd there. And then in addition to that, we need the permissions, the actual, you know what I'm saying? Like we actually need the permission to update those avatars, which would mean that they would have to be the subdomains as you described, would have to be in a centralized way. Because we can, here's the other thing. I wanted, and tell me what you think about this. I wanted to build this in a way where we create a first before any of that we create a claim page where you go to the claim page, you hook up your wallet, it verifies which subdomains you own. Do you own 07h37? Yes, here's a list of all your own ones. Okay, so then you can mint, if you own 07h37.eth, then you can mint 07h37.metaclock.eth. That's what I was. So we have to create a gated claim page where you can only where it's validated, where you can only claim these subdomains if you own that root level minute. And in addition to that, they're bound. They would have to be like bound together so that if somebody sold 07h37, that the control or the associated compensation for this 0737 dot meta clock.eth would go to the new holder of 007h37. So that's the clever implementation and the considerations. And we've literally taken it to the nth degree on the product development where we're thinking that way. And we've limited our scope to some extent, but we'll probably have to further limit it, you know. But I wanted to let you know that is something that we've thought about and wonder what you think, you know, and because you were thinking the same thing, subdomains as a solution, centralized subs. But then if you centralize so completely, then it's like, what are you doing? Why don't you just build a centralized clock? So I think this hybrid solution in which the centralized sub clock, if for marketing purposes, is bound to the decentralized ownership clock for compensation purposes, is kind of a revolutionary. Um, but it's the devil's in the details because no one's done it yet, and so that's why I'm looking for really clever people. It's part of the reason why we don't have as much eagerness and support probably from like developers in the community, because it's a heavy lift, and it's been a thing where we're like waiting on the subdomain wrapper, because that will potentially make some of this possible in a more turnkey way. So I'll stop there and let you respond. But yeah, so that we have thought about it a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I think like the points that you raised are like very important, especially like if it's like sort of a business tool that you share even like some sort of revenues or whatever with the website and platform that hosts your clock. So it's definitely something to consider regarding like what the images are in this clock and like those advertisements. Sure, like it cannot be like everything. Some people, like you said, might take a use of that for like bad reasons. But I think like this is part of the decentralization in general, and just for the simple example, and again obviously it's not like really the same because here it's like some sort of a business, and not an individual. But even now I can put like offensive avatar background on my ENS, and if you do go to ENS and search for my domains, you will see this offensive image. It is a part of the website, and there is basically like, sure, they can block it or block my user and so on and so forth, just like in OpenSea, I believe they do for some sort of thing. But again, like you said, it's missing like the point of it becomes more centralized if you do it like manually. But yeah, it's something that I don't know. You can always find, in my opinion, like solutions. Whether it's like a ranking system for each minute that okay, you're as the minute holder. You're basically like lending or leasing this minute for this specific day, and let's say you are the approval, okay, and like every single person in that collection, in that club, first of all of them have the incentive why to do it, because they will get a share out of the advertiser. So this is also regarding like the first point you made about some of the domains are remain empty. So I think this will help to drive that thing. But also, let's say I'm like I own the specific minute, and now I actually am responsible for what's in that minute. And if we are talking back to the scoring system, so we can say, all right, so if this got X and Y reports, so yeah, it will go eventually to some DAO or whatever that will decide this is like an offensive image. So, let's say if you approve as a minute holder, you approve something that is offensive, you might get not fined, but you might not get a share for this advertiser, and you
Exactly.
might won't be able to do it for the next, I don't know, for the next month or so. So I think
Exactly.
again, this is just something out of the head, but I think if you do like sit on it, you might find some solution for that as well.
Bro, it's a patient process, and the development, you once you send a developer off building something, some big dashboard, you better have thought about this stuff. So in a way, it's really good to have this segment of ideation with a front end developer and with somebody who can help us consider the ENS specific aspects of this. So thank you. I want to shift gears now to really focus on you and on B card and why we came. I'm sorry for being so easily distractible. I love the metaverse clock, and then when I hear of somebody with your skill set, which I didn't know that you had, I really am curious to build that bridge and to let you know that that's the desire of my heart that I'm working on. So if you know people who can help in that, and just definitely it would be awesome to have the networking and support there. Now, B card.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now B card.
I sent you your B card to r1der, so that should be in your hidden items on Polygon. B card is on Polygon. You can't really use ENS with B card the way we would like. So basically, what we all probably end up doing is just I searched writer on ENS Vision, and then I copied your address out of there and just entered it into the OpenSea Send platform. So I mean, that's like all like probably like not the optimal way to be doing this, but it's in its transitional technology. But what B card is 100% on chain. It's not stored on some Amazon, server or something. It's like a scalable vector graphic that's burned into the blockchain. So from that end, it's like immutable, and it's just at its most base layer. It's kind of the first that I trust as like a potential substrate for an alternative to these big tech central media or social media central media. That's actually epic. Nice Freudian slip. But the centralized media, social media conglomerates are so powerful and abusive. If we're able to remove them, as the trusted third parties in our friendships and ability to communicate with each other, then we gain so much by doing that. And so that's what B card represents to me, is that like I gave you my B card now. And when you get, admit your B card, you need to have 3 B cards. So maybe somebody else in the crowd who's getting to know you on here. That's what this space is for. That's what B card talks is for. So that B card holders can get to know other B card holders. And this will go syndicated to YouTube, and everyone else who wants to know you, they could know you without having to go and spend all the time again. They can watch the B card BTalks 0003 and say, okay, well, I got to know Ryder a bit, even though n0vax wouldn't shut up about this damn clock. I did get to know Ryder a little better. And then ultimately, those people can send you their B card, and you can swap with them if they have an interview too. And it doesn't have to be all through me. I'm not trying to be the narrow gate of B card interviews. I registered BTalks, and I wanted to encourage the B card community to join in on this and use this and use my platform because it's already syndicated with Audio Labs. So that's kind of what my vision for the talks is. And then with the B card itself, man, like I can't wait for you to send me a B card back, because then that means that you're in the B card community. That means that you've already probably been into the oncyber.io/GM coffee, and you've probably been to the oncyber.io/station and station 2, and you've seen that we are building what 3869 is in the house with us, and then we'll go to questions right after. But we're building like the first station. It's called station on cyber.io/station. I mean, it's a station where you can link out portal out to all of our individual on cyber spaces where we're curating our ENS, where we're curating our art that we own or collect that we've created. And where I'm putting three-dimensional assets with augmented reality experiences as well, because I've become a partner in the Bust 3D collection. And that's some of the things I'll be sending you, Ryder, as well. Some of this OG pianos and just random cool 3D assets that you can put in your living room and that you can put in your on cyber spaces. So B-Card is an opportunity for me to build that network of people who I can, share an enthusiasm for metaverse stuff with, and also maybe, partner with on some of these assets and projects. So maybe I should go to 38 who joined us to say, like, did I miss anything? Did I get anything wrong? Do you want to help Ryder, understand anything else about B-Card that'd be important?
No, actually, n0vax, you pretty much covered it. Yeah, I think you have a pretty good understanding of what's going on.
Oh, crap. My bad. Sorry about that. Fat fingered it.
Oh, no, you're good. Did you guys hear me? No, I was just saying that you're doing a good job. Like, you pretty much, like, hit the nail on the, I think you got it.
Yeah,
I'll fill any
actually
gaps, though.
trying to figure out like the bigger idea. Like, if I understand you correctly, so this whole invitation thing is some sort of validation. So you won't have like a social network like filled with bots like Twitter, if I got it correctly.
Precisely.
But like, what's the next thing? Is it like what we joined yesterday? Like, everyone have like his own space, or he can hang on his like art and music and so on? Is this is like the main thing about it, or like
talk
like
about B
what is
paper?
going further?
38, would you introduce him to B paper?
Sure. Yeah, Ryder, I think you pretty much got it as well. Like, if you're receiving a B card from someone, you're pretty much getting validated by the network as a real person and a real person in Web3. B paper is a newer utility that just came out kind of recently. If you have received 50 B cards, you're able to write a centralized written post of about 14 to 1500 characters. You can mint it as an NFT. You can share it with people. You can hang it as art. It's a really cool feature because it's decentralized, censorship resistant, and yeah, it's on chain.
SVG as well. So for metaverse context, it's fantastic to go scale micro size and macro size. It could exist in the sky of the metaverse or on your wristwatch or on your thumbnail. It's so cool to have SVG. And -2 and -9 are in the house. I wanted to shout out the -10. And I want to let you guys both know that the Dask, if you weren't here when I said a moment ago, the Dask hooked me up with -1 emoji .og, like the Lineage contract one yesterday. So if you guys are ever able to shout out and throw him any love or any assets to say thank you, he's giving out grails. He also, PV, I think he has -2, so you might want to hit him up and see if you guys can work something out to get -2.og, because it's dope to have your domain on the Lineage contract and on the ENS. So anyway, but -9, what is up, my guy? How are you?
What's up? What's up, n0vax? Yeah, I just wanted to pop in, say what's up to everyone in here. You've been talking about these B cards for so long,
Do you
man.
have any
So many
questions
months
for
now.
Ryder?
And yeah, I was just wondering, when am I getting my B card, man? You've been telling me you're gonna hook me up and you're gonna get other people to get me one, and here I am still asking for one, bro. I'm left out. So many people have joined before me now.
Check PV's wallet, bro. I probably sent PV 12 of them already. I probably, every time I'm trying to send to you, I'm getting it wrong with the wallet addies. So yeah, no, we'll get you it right now. Everyone 38 and everyone here. I vouch for -9. Obviously, he's a -10. He's a real person. He is legit. Please, he needs a head start and a bump up to the top of the list. We got to just drop him on him. But also Ryder, and I want to keep the focus on Ryder too. So I'm going to get you your B card as well. I'm going to send a few out right now. But I do want Ryder to get just buried in B cards from people who know and respect him and have interacted with him. Because that's the point here. We're not trying to be all of this Tom on MySpace. We're really just trying to build those meetings. Like when you look at your wallet and it's full of B card random digits that you don't know the people and stuff, you start going, okay, I'm going to hide those ones. I'm going to rehide those ones because I don't know them. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build my network. And the idea, Ryder, about paper and the next level of it is that, we can monetize our own stuff now too. And that's card itself isn't really monetized, but the commercialization aspect of paper is really it's not untrue. It's significant. You could basically write like a poem or a song or lyrics or anything, and it's minted as an NFT. It's minted direct to chain. It's immutable, and you commercialize it. You could sell it if you like, and people do and will. Um, and just much in the same way that we've been people carefully craft their Facebook or Twitter posts, and they do that for the like social validation and credit and the retweets and the engagement and whatever. But now there's just this other direct way of doing it. And so it's just in its primitive early stages. We don't even have like a WYSIWYG, add an image or make this bold. It's like plain text. But the point is that it's so immutably, done, that it really is just provide a robust, potential, like, censorship resistant form of communication that is commercializable, and that upon which we can build the visualization layer. People like you, right, with the front end developer experience, can build the tools by which all of that on-chain data, who gave who each other's business cards, how, so you can make a dashboard, n0vax.btalks.eth of my that automatically houses all of our talks, or whatever the case. You understand? Like, the idea is that social media now becomes a visualization layer of on-chain interactions. Card becomes a substrate for those on-chain interactions to occur, and anyone can build the next Facebook. But the Facebook isn't going to be a data layer; it's going to be a visualization tool, and so it'll have a lot less power to interrupt our passions and in our professions.
Yeah, I actually like love it. I love what I've just heard on the last few minutes. I think like you said, like in terms of like media, uh, um, like you can basically do anything, like everything that is already happening today. Like you have mentioned, creating content, whether it's music or art or video or whatever, and like commercialize it. So I think this is something that is already happening. Just open your Instagram and see those influencers and not only influencers. We have seen like magicians and so many other content creators that just like YouTubers, and they just find their niche, and they have already like gathered communities even around them, and that's why those big companies are actually after them, because they have access to all these people. I actually have several friends that are working in the influencer marketing thing. So I think in that perspective it's amazing. What's amazed me even more, it's the basic idea of the invitation and the limitations. You've mentioned something like if you own like 50 cards, you can do that, or if you do, you got a simple recommendation from X people, you can do that or that. I think this is like the main thing here, because what you have actually built, in other words, is like a trust platform, and this is what we have all been waiting for in Web3. We always say this is trust. Web2, you just owned and wrote and got the data, and then now it's all about having trust over the internet. And I think like this whole big card idea maybe is like on the beginning or forwarding. I still have to check it myself, but it sounds like from how you described it that it's actually like a trust system. And I think this is like the huge thing that Bcard actually have here, because once you have a trust, it's much easier, not only to bring people, and once this gets bigger, bigger audience, and lots of people in, like not really a lot, but big enough, let's say this way, it will be much easier, first of all, to communicate it all, because just the fact that you need some invitations, that reminds me some of the very old games and stuff like that, even I'm not sure if you remember, if I think you're about my age, so you probably do you remember torrent? Do you used to download things on torrent? So
Oh,
I just happened,
yes,
j-
absolutely.
just something that pop up to my hand. Do you remember torrent leech? This was actually a
Oh,
platform, like a great website that had all the like trusted link. Okay, it has like a very very good sources on it. And on other torrent websites you had like many crapping shit and viruses and stuff like this, but when you had links or torrent links from torrent leech, you knew this is a good link, you can trust it much better. And the way they did it was actually a very similar way. You can only join the platform and actually get an access to those links only if like other people inviting you, other trusted already people invite you. So I think in that matter this is like I find the similarities here. And yeah, I think it's a great thing. And building a trust in this world, in digital world, I think it's probably one of the hardest tasks in this moment, where everybody is trying to figure it out. And I think Bcard, at least as far as I can tell, this is one of the top ideas to actually solve that. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to interact with it and search and read more about it and yeah, jump in.
I've just sent you 12012. I've just sent you aka -9. Did he already dip out? Oh, there you are. I've just sent you your B card. I'm so sorry for fading you. You're such a good friend that it's like easy to assume that I just already did it about 20 times. So, and now I have such a low number of B card. I only sent you one, which is also unacceptable. So as soon as I have more B card, this is another part of this with the validation. We don't really have like a negative attestation component, and it's for another day. But I've dabbled with this a little bit on Doge Party. We can talk about that some later time. Yeah, no. So I think the positive attestation is really interesting to be able to stack a B card. If you're like, yo, like you're my real homie, you can stack you 3. I think I gave somebody 5. And so the idea there is that, at least you could sort of reinforce because sometimes it gets a little diluted down if you send them around indiscriminately, and then you want to kind of differentiate who are my super friends. So I have a nice stack of people who I've given 2 or 3, and so that just goes to show like how I'm viewing it. Like if they want to distribute, don't lose that side of it. It's not
So,
like they're soul bound. People can retransfer your B card too. What up, Braylon?
so are we not friends? Or
I got to hit you up with the B card. I can't wait for you guys all to join and jump around the on cyber and come into my on cyber space. The part of this that's so cool is that when you use B card, you have this experience. Okay, this is the experience that you have when you use B card. And Ryder, you're gonna love this part of it too, because you're a UI guy and you're going to see the opportunity for 3D UI to really take shape here now. Because what you're going to do, you're going to have an FAQ on the wall of the 3-dimensional space. You're going to be jumping around the 3-dimensional space. You're going to be like, yo, I forgot how to do this super technical thing. I have to go direct to the contract. What does that mean? I don't even know. Oh my gosh, how do I do it?
Well, yeah, I saw it yesterday on the link you sent me to on the coffee one. Yeah, I love it. I love it when everything is just in front of you, just in different rooms and stuff. And I also seen like a digits domain room over there. And yeah, I think it was pretty dope. I really liked that experience yesterday. It was quite a short, but also the whole music thing that you like moving forward, it gets like a higher volume, and you turn around, you hear some other thing. And yeah, I love that interaction. And I think obviously like over time it will be way even more graphic and then more appealing. And yeah, I'm actually like I really really like it. And but again, the whole idea of the trust, I think this is like the winning ticket over here.
Yes, you're right, Ryder. You're so right. It's the social component of this is the trust. And my in short interactions with you, I understand a little bit about your ethic, your knowledge of health, some things that we shared about, your appreciation for some healing modalities and things. I think that you as an individual, really engender trust rapidly. And it's nice when a network can reflect that and allow trusted nodes on the network to really thrive. And so that's kind of part of the thought of, like, when you have a good friend and you send them a few of your B card, it's like, why couldn't somebody else distribute my B card? You know what I mean? Who I trusted. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So if I gave you 3 because you're my homie, and then you're like, oh, you're trying to get somebody else rapidly into the B card community because 12/12 been neglected. Sorry, -9. And then you'd be like, hey, maybe -2 has, or maybe Quantum has a few for me. He's like, oh, I'll get you one of n0vax's too. I'll send you mine and n0vax's B card. We'll short circuit you. So I'm cool with all that. I think that's fine. I think it's like, let the dynamics play out and we'll kind of iterate it and correct it. But a lot of this started with the Punks who's in the room. So I just want to acknowledge him, because Punk's basically what he has been saying for months and months had to do with subdomains and stuff. I probably have this iconic subdomain from him, King Crown emoji.ens punks. And so that one was kind of one of the early kind of conversations about this idea of, like, proof of reputation, mutual social validation. I give you a subdomain off of my primary because I'm n0vax. Everyone knows I'm n0vax. So if you're rocking around with, your name .n0vax, let's say, or some other thing .n0vax in your wallet, that I've issued you a subdomain that identifies you. But so it's a really remarkable and fascinating way of doing it with subdomains with ENS. And I think it's an elegant solution, and probably in some ways, like, even more to the point. But with bcard, it actually has provided like a framework by which we can understand and visualize. And some of the, I mean, I just think that there's something here it's going to scale well. It's set up to really build the community aspect of it. So when you're in the writer, when you're in that FAQ and you're understanding for the first time, like, it'd be easier for you probably. But when you're somebody newer and you haven't, gone into the read write functions on the contract on Polygon scan or Ether scan. I mean, it's the simplest thing. Just connect your wallet, just put in the numbers. I mean, it's just so easy. But now you have the confirmation of the simplicity of it by virtue of that it's written on the wall in the FAQ. You don't have to go ask somebody, hey, could you tell me how to do the thing or give me the link to the instructions? It's just there in the 3-dimensional environment on Cyber. And when you go and you have that ease of access to accelerate, it's like being bootstrapped to be more competent. So that's one of the great things about bcard, is that everyone who joins bcard and mints their bcard has to go through that narrow gate of going into the read write functions on the contract and putting and minting their bcard ID number, and it just empowers you, so to join us and be empowered, and you got your bcard now 12/12.
Hey, yeah, so I apparently I'm rugging left and right, so I'm probably gonna just listen in, but I need to mint my B card after I have 3 B cards, right? Is that correct?
Precisely, yes.
Okay, so as later on, one from 3869. I don't know how many you sent me n0vax, but I think I should flip tonight. Hit you up and ask you for some help and guidance on that, and we'll move from there. But thanks for having me up. Thanks for explaining this. Thanks for being my B card finally, man. I'm so excited now.
Woo woo! Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
but
excited too.
I'm
And
gonna head out. I'm working right now. I'm driving, so thank you guys for getting me involved. And I can't wait to my car here, and you know, we'll definitely hang out. Anyone else want to send me theirs, feel free to hys.eth, so 3 letters, HYS, and I'll get that, and we'll be beacons.
Yo, check your hidden folder. Probably a few people in here will send you. So just check your hidden folder on OpenSea. And yeah, thank you, man. Thank you so much. Ryder, I love that this conversation is bringing us together. It's so great. I sent a few DMs, sent it out to a few groups, and us getting to know each other is going to serve, like, have a greater ripple effect and in educating people about bcard. And that will really translate into a lot. I think that the relationships that will come, as a result, the partnerships and the things that we could do together, the synergy of that is really powerful with bcard, because you have a selection bias for very intelligent and thoughtful people who are really working hard to achieve something better than what we've previously known. So that to that end, like the kind of social challenges that happen in communities and things are a lot more diminished with B card. There's a lot of people just kind of being willing to just get to business and just get on, figure out what we can do to help each other and keep the vibes positive. So there's a lot of objectivity and and selection for really good people and good environment. So it's definitely a place to be. Quantum has joined us. Quantum, would you like to point a question at our guest of honor, Ryder, and our B card 00? Well, he's not B card 003. He hasn't minted his B card yet, but our B card talks interview 003. Would you like to chat or maybe send him a B card? Or what's up?
Yeah, I'm kind of slacking too, honestly. I have my 3 cards, but I just gotta like get $1 or something on Polygon and do that transfer. I'm in the car right now, so it might be kind of choppy, but yeah, great discussion today. Thanks, Ryder, for being with n0vax, and it's always awesome to hear what other people are working on. I guess my question would be just like on the projects you're working on, the public ones, like what's other ways for folks to like kind of check out your work and support what you're doing beyond like the ENS involvement. But you said you had like a project going. I don't know how much of that's public, but yeah, I think that's another part of the discussion and just the dialogue from these kinds of spaces and calls is like, yeah, how do we support one another in the project? I think it's awesome to trade cards and keep building each other's, networks and assets. But yeah, it's always awesome to hear what projects people are working on and, how we might be able to support that going forward as well.
Yes, man. What do you say, Ryder? That's brilliant.
I love you all, guys. You're pretty awesome people, really. You don't get it so much in like every space, but like the vibe in here, let's say this one, and the vision of the whole idea of B card. I love it. I love your energy, guys. I already got some DMs from you guys, and I absolutely like appreciate it and love it. I would love to get more involved in the whole community, and especially with people like yourself. Yeah, it's actually pretty great for me. I love it. This is probably one of the best thing that I love in Web3. It's gathering and socially. And again, if we go back to the start of this space, I love to speak out ideas, and then just the amount of information and ideas and stuff that I got over the past hour in this space is like incredible. And from every conversation, if I would be able to take half of that would be great. So I am first very thankful for n0vax for inviting me, and for all of you for sending me and DMing me and speaking good things, and yeah, I absolutely love it. Regarding your question, Quantum, well, at the moment, like I've said earlier, I'm trying mostly to work on ENS, mostly with the subdomains. My first project that I will release is actually a very simple application. This is for me just some sort of proof of concept. For me, it's just a way of building those different components to enable to use the wrapper and like with the different privileges and stuff like that, and just to have the very basic system of minting a subdomain. So my first project is it's pretty funny, but I do love it. I own the domain name 11/2024, 1st of January 2024. Now you probably all know that every year, many people are like gathering and trying to write them down like a bucket list, what I want to achieve this year. So I thought that I can actually like use this domain for that purpose, and actually allow everyone to mint their bucket list and make it like on chain, which is like pretty awesome. Maybe even more commitment for some of you guys once it's on chain and then like publicly. So basically, what I'm like visioning is you go inside, You pick some of the things from a suggestion list, or you can maybe write some custom things of your own. Just a list of goals or things that you want to achieve or get during this year. And yeah, just mint a subdomain on that, and which you will be able to share and so on. So this is the first project for me, like I said, regarding ENS. Other than that, I do have like way more complex ideas regarding ENS and not only. But yeah, this is going to be the start, and once I already built those components for this project, I will be able to reuse them with some modifications for my other projects. So this is the way I'm building it, like just one project as a continuous for the previous one. I find it like a very practical thing to do that can actually save me time, but also delivering while I'm doing it. So yeah, this is my thought on that. And again, thank you all.
Yeah, give us those links and everything, because we're definitely, Quantum is such a connector. He's a super node. Quantum's a community mod, and manager with the OG Crypto Skulls. So he's plugged into the heart of everything. And that's the other part about B Card that I want to say for everyone here. This is like opening a door to a deep, deep network. I mean, when you join B Card, when you hook up with me, you're getting access to my partners at Non-Fungible Art, like with Snoop Dogg and the gang in Las Vegas. Like that's a resource that's available to you to get your collection in there, or to consult with them on things that you might want to do with IRL event promotion. And if you're a musician or R&B rap artist, maybe partnerships with Snoop and others. I mean, that's a door that opens for you, and you're you're in this community. You're my friend, and that means your friends. You bring your friends to me. That's an opportunity that you can now provide to your friends, and it goes way beyond non-fungible art. It goes to anything that I do. It's like, this is my family. This is my Web3 family. So I'm going to open the door however I can. I'm going to send you alpha on 2 emoji combos. I'm going to say, bro, this is a good play, potentially good value. I'm going to send you alpha on some of the plays PV and I've been doing, mining the treasure out of the Punks voxels and Ape voxel collections and things like that. So to some of us who are so deeply embedded and degenning out because we're in Web3 full time, that we could just kind of like are little aware bears. And so some of us have that gifting of just having the info and the alpha. 3869 is solely this archetype. And so hang out, and reap the benefit that you can from every aspect of this. And I just want to make it clear that's not like limited to just like, oh, like a new friend, a new buddy, but it's like, use it. If you show up every single day at 2 p.m. Pacific, the B card community gets together. It's like small number of people right now who are there regularly. It oscillates. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 or 20. But it's just, and we're jumping around in the on cyberspace together, chatting. It's kind of like an open office hours. It's no obligation to be, in an active conversation, but people are writing B paper, et cetera, et cetera. I can't write B paper yet. I need 50 cards to do it. I think I'm at some less than that, but I cannot wait to begin to be able to write some B paper. I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm really interested in the way that, the persistence of it will require me to do a little bit heavier editing and checking myself. So I'm stoked on it. And I think that, we can all get as much out of it as we put into it and more. So put something in and see where it goes, and I think you guys will find that, you can exhibit your art in there. People be bidding on it. You can exhibit your collection, and people might buy it from you if you got some rare stuff that you want to sell that you didn't create. There's just a lot of opportunity. 38, was there any, and Braylon, I got to get you I got to get you immediate, like, I don't know why, but I got to send you, I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to send you a B card immediately. And then 3869, did you want to offer any more info or context on this?
There's nothing else for me to add. I think you have a really good understanding of what B card is. So you did a great job today.
Hey, thank you. Well, I think we're right up on the hour. It's been 90-minute session. So as we head to the hour, I want to give the opportunity for everyone here to speak and make your comments heard. I had Dr. F was in here requesting, and he just bounced. I was about to get to him. Sorry, Dr. F. But yes, prideflag.eth, ENS Punks is in the house. I would really, really like to just acknowledge you again and thank you for setting a fire. What you're doing with Bensick is really cool. I have a few Bensick, and you guys should mint Bensick as well. It's another thing about this. ENS Punks is one of the early B card holders. He's not as engaged at this moment. He's been working on his project a lot and other things, but it'd be great to have you back in the station, hanging out with us, and to be able to actually connect you with all this, like to be able to send the B card homies to go and mint out the rest of that collection and understand the deep value that and the innovation that you guys have done with board ENS Yacht Club, because it is next level. Yes, Quantum, what up?
Hey, Novak. Yeah, thanks for the call today. This has been really great. I guess I had a clarifying question. Maybe you know the answer. So, for all of us that have a .eth domain name, is that contract itself? We've been thinking a lot about the Lineage naming service and everything over the last week or so, but related to ENS, the contracts and the registrations that we've made on ENS, are those on an old contract as well? Do you have an answer to that, or what's that contract date?
Was a question about our ENS? Go ahead, Ryder. Yeah, go ahead.
It's about
Yeah,
ENS.
I think I'm not sure, but if I remember correctly, so ENS released firstly around 2017 or 18. This is as far as I remember. Obviously, it got most of the traction over the past few months. I did saw the whole Lineage domain thing. I did also mint something myself as a DGen. I've actually minted DGN, yeah. But yeah, I'm still not so convinced on that one. As far as I can currently see it, and I'm obviously not trying to further anything. It's just like my personal perspective at this moment. I don't know. I think it's like there is a big hype for the ENS domains, and there are many people, including myself, that maybe lost their chance to get their hands, on the very big rails, but they do also want to participate and maybe extract some value out of it, out of domains. And in that matter, I think once this collection was actually discovered, so it actually played very well for all those people to maybe try to maximize on this one instead of the ENS, or not instead, but we can have them both. But there are a couple of things that a little bit bothering me with that. I see it more like as getting some of the ENS hype that we currently have and just use it to extract some money. If just for some my small points of view regarding the fees that you pay for the wrapper. In the other hand, it's a lifetime. Also, the first initial claim that this is like the first NFT, this is not so correct. It might be one of the first contract or so, and yeah, you can reserve name, but in fact the first NFTs was just minted like a couple of days ago. If we are talking specifically on NFTs on chain, so the first claim of, oh, this is the first NFT collection on itself is not like so true in my eyes. But yeah, again, I've also minted myself, just in case. This is my view on it, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will grow even bigger. Who knows? This space, there is one thing that I've learned, that expect the unexpected. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's been a lot of clarity about the Lineage system, but I guess just returning back to the question, just with ENS, like when we're registering ENS domains that is on a 2017 contract?
Oh,
As
that's a good
as
question. I
far
think
as
it's
I
been
understand,
updated.
yeah. This is as far as I understand. This is the same contract. They are just, they'll just keep building on it. Nick from ENS, and I've just actually, I think it was this morning or maybe yesterday that I saw that in like they agreed in the DAO or something on. I think it was 275K for marketing purposes, and you I don't know, I just keep seeing the development. I've also just seen like an hour or two ago like a small conversation about when we can expect normalization, which the answer over there in the convo was before November, which actually means that this month we probably going to have normalization. So yeah, there are a lot of things that they just keep progressing. So yeah, I love it. There is already so much utility, from emails with your ENS domains to the B cards to so many other things, and I've already like heard about so many other different projects, and just also taught myself about ideas of how I can, use it, and make a use case out of it. So yeah, again, I think yeah, it's eventually maybe 2 years after the Lineage, from 2017 or maybe 18. But yeah, I don't find it like so relevant in my personal opinion. I don't really care like how far was it. I mostly care about what I can actually do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Can I
guess.
jump in, guys? I have a little bit of perspective on this. I think that there's two parts. There's a historical and there's a cultural, right? There's like a utility in the cultural or historical. So I'm not sure exactly how those all parse out, but it's basically this. Those original ones that were minted on the Lineage contract back in the day, like anything that was minted, around that time, right as Ethereum was being booted up, that's really interesting. Obviously, that's really interesting from the collector's collectible perspective. And then anything in addition to that that's just being minted on this, progenitor contract is just like a cool cultural thing that's like, hell yeah, I got -1 .eth, and just like r1der was saying, he was over there minting dgen, right? It's like cool. Like I've interacted with that one of those originator contracts on Ethereum. Like that's great. That's fun. And can they have value? Sure, and the value the is going to be largely concentrated in the true OG historical ones and the true grails that are just rare and valued on ENS. But ultimately, there's kind of like this perception in a small niche historical community that, well, we've minted over 200,000, Lineage domains. Like maybe we're gonna, rival ENS in some way or something. And if you're part of the ENS community and stuff, and you see what we're doing and the volume and everything, it's kind of like, yeah, no, probably not. But at the same time, it is cool to be challenged that way and to realize for ENS to actually, it's a good thing for ENS growth. It's a good thing for ENS community development to see that. Hold on a second, nobody has the darn, patent on a Ethereum naming service. Anyone can fork ENS, and if ENS starts doing things that are unacceptable to the large majority of its community, and we're unable to reconcile it, then like it's very likely impossible that a forks could happen with the naming service. So that's important to be aware of too. And then also, as far as to the contract stuff, to my knowledge, like the contract has been updated quantum, and in certain ways. I don't know to what extent that's possible. But there are just a constant, like, small changes that are possible to be made to the OG, ENS contract. But I think if it were ever moved to a new contract, it would require every owner of an ENS to go and like manually wrap them, which would be a horrible, like that would result in the loss and fragmentation of the entire, of a large portion of the millions of 3 million domains almost. So it's not something that's likely to ever happen to require all ENS users to wrap, unless there's some just like devastating mission critical thing that happens. So we're just going to be on that contract, iterating and adjusting and adapting that contract, presumably for that reason, because of the cumbersome and prohibitive and costly and self limiting, component of trying to have people wrap. And that's the same reason why, like, same thing we were talking about the clock earlier, with Pixel Map and Thousand Ether homepage and stuff. Why some of those people just didn't wrap them, and that's why they're blank still or unused. And so anytime you ask people to just come on with me, it's like Snoop-a-loop, we're all going streaking, from that movie Old School. It's like nobody's running naked through the streets with you, Will Ferrell. Like, go on your own. And that's how it is with rappers a lot of the time. It's like nobody's like, we got a rapper, and people are just kind of like, okay, whatever. What do I get? You want me to go pay a few bucks in gas to get what? Nothing. So a lot of people just chill and don't rap, and so that's one of the reasons why you probably won't see the ENS contract update. That's at least my perception. Maybe somebody can add to that, or if I've spoken on that. But yeah, that's kind of how I see it. And then, guys, since we're right up over the time, and I got walk time with the family, Ryder has been really gracious to spend so much time with us. Please get him a DM. Please get him a B card. Please hook up with me if you haven't, to schedule your B card or BTalks interview with me. I love anyone, even my existing friends who I know, like Quantum and everyone here. If you want to just get on record and get one, dialed and get an update with what you're doing. I plan on doing these periodically with everyone anyway. So like Ryder, I want to have you back in some number of weeks or months to get an update with you and everything. So, but what up? My good man PV just joined us. What is up?
Just listening, man. You guys are just vibing and stuff. You guys are nailing it on the nail with everything here. Um, I think personally, me here is just everything is growing as we go, and anything could happen within 12 hours, 24 hours. And I think we just have to take it, keep moving, and not stress ourselves, too much, and just keep with the flow going, but keep being alert overall. Be looking out, okay, if it's gonna affect you or not. But regardless, man, I think, like you said, there's each thing has its thing, cultural and historical thing. But at the end of the day, right now, everybody is trying to do their best. But let's not forget that um, anything that you do, it's pretty much do your research first. Don't just follow, because not alpha is great alpha. Just keep that in mind, and just be prepared.
Speaking of that, PV, have you been able to pull the trigger on our super secret alpha play yet today?
It's in the works. I have my laptop lined up tonight to do that. To have that on the separate wallet, it's gonna happen, brother. It's pretty cool. I'm excited just to protect those assets and just see what happens in the future 5 years. You know what I mean? I'm here for the long run, bro. Just hold him, lock him in, and let's see what happens.
Yes. So that's the kind of thing we're cooking up on these back channels in the Nega 10 Club, and DMing each other, finding these alpha opportunities. And PV and I have a little play that we're doing right now. We'll reveal it to you guys soon. And it's fantastic thing about this, just going a little bit deeper with your contacts and your friends, getting to know each other, feeling a little more sense of trust with one another to go and take a risk together, and having that certainty in advance, like, okay, we felt each other out, we know kind of the risk involved, and it's all a little bit of degenning, right? So we're having a bit of fun with it anyway. So with that said, I'm going to just cue up the music. I got the original I Will Not Comply, n0vax original digital music right here to play us out with. I want to invite you guys to please share with me your artists, you know what I'm saying? Like anybody who's making NFT music, Web3 music, who wants to blast their stuff out on the Twitter Spaces and onto the YouTube, so I don't get my YouTube rug with ACDC. That would be nice. And also so we can promote you, and I could, move your stuff and get it into the hands of people who wouldn't see it otherwise. That'd be fantastic. Honeycomb, we got to get Honeycomb up here, get his music playing. Joseph, it's great seeing your skull, man. That skull is so beautiful hooded. It actually inspired me to check out Cyber Crypto Skull number 888, dude. That's mine, and it is a banger. It's similar to that one. I can't wait to hood it. And I can't wait for all of you guys to have hooded cyber skulls. That's a big part of this too. And we're going into the metaverse with the cybers. So stock up. The cyber's floor price 0.0039. You could sweep the floor for like 0.04. You got 10 of them. 0.08, you got 20 of them. like seriously bank some cybers right now because they're a ticket into the alpha club that we're building, you know, and the doorway is BTalks. That's what's up. Thank you again, Ryder, for being here. Thank you, everyone
Thank you,
else.
Novax. It was really, really great. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you all, guys. I learned a lot, and yeah, it was great. I would love to come here again, even not as a speaker, but just as a listener. Yeah, I love it.
We love it too, man. Grateful for you. Can't wait to see what you're building. Please reveal to us all of your projects as soon and as you're willing. We'd love to see and support and share it around. So great stuff, everyone. Have a good one, everyone. Let me know if you guys want to chill later on today. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, which is what is that? 9 UTC. We're gonna be hanging out in the Skull Cave. We're gonna be hanging out in the GM Coffee. So just check my page. I'm gonna run a space. We're gonna hang the Cyber Skulls. Are gonna be hanging out in the daily B Talks. The B card GM Coffee location today. So we hope to see you guys in there. And look for the link if you want to access the audio. It's a little tricky. It's on cyber.io/GM coffee. And then it's like equals !from station or !equals from station. So look for the link so you can make sure to access it correctly. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Thanks again.